All right, let's jump right in with a little brain teaser to get us started. Take a look at this. Can you rearrange the letters N-E-W-D-O-R to make just one word? Go ahead, think about it for a sec. Whatever you came up with, just hang on to that idea. We'll circle back to it, I promise.
You know, that little puzzle is a perfect window into what we're talking about today, the science of problem solving. It doesn't matter if it's a riddle or a huge life decision. Our minds go on this really fascinating journey to find an answer. So let's unpack that journey, piece by piece.
So, first things first, what even is a problem? Well, when you boil it all down, it's just a gap, right? It's the space between where you are right now and where you want to be. And problem solving, that's just the art of figuring out how to build a bridge over that gap.
Let's actually map this whole thing out. So on one side, you've got what's called the initial state. This is you, right now, looking at the challenge in front of you. And way over on the other side, that's the goal state. That's where you want to end up, the solution you're aiming for.
Okay, so how do we actually get from one side to the other? We use things called operators. Now that sounds technical, but it's really just all the possible actions, all the steps or the moves you can take. They're basically the tools you have to build that bridge to your goal.
And you know, using these tools, it's not just some mechanical thing. It really gets to the core of what makes us, well, human. I love this quote from the mathematician George Polya, who said that this ability to find our way through a tough spot is a uniquely human achievement. It's one of the most fundamental things we do. All right, now that we kind of get the layout of a problem, let's open up the toolkit we have to deal with it. Our minds come preloaded with a whole bunch of different strategies for finding solutions. So when it comes to strategy, our brains usually take one of two main routes. There's the sure path, which is slow and steady, and then there's the smart shortcut. The technical names for these are algorithms and heuristics.
An algorithm, that's the sure path. It's a methodical, step-by-step process that, hey, if you follow it perfectly, you are guaranteed to get the right answer. Think about a math formula or an IKEA manual. It might take you a while to follow every single direction, but you know that bookshelf is going to stand up straight in the end.
Now, a heuristic, that's the smart shortcut. It's a mental rule of thumb that your brain uses to make a quick guess. Let's say you're looking for a friend in a massive crowd. Are you going to check every single face? That's the algorithm approach. No way. You're going to scan for their bright red coat. It's way faster, but, there's a small chance you could miss them if they wore something else.
But our toolkit has way more than just those two. We've got good old trial and error, just fumbling with a set of keys until one finally works. Or there's the really clever trick of working backward from the goal, which is amazing for things like mazes. And then there's my favorite, that amazing aha moment of insight, where the answer just seems to pop in your head out of nowhere. But let's be honest, that journey to the solution isn't always a straight line, is it? We have all been there, staring at a problem, feeling completely and totally stuck. So what's actually going on in our heads when we hit one of these mental roadblocks?
Well, one of the biggest reasons we get stuck is something called a mental set. This is when our brain gets caught in a rut. We keep trying to use a solution that worked perfectly for a past problem, but it just doesn't fit the new one. It's like trying to use your house key to start your car. Sure, it's a key, but it's the wrong one for this particular lock. And then you've got its sneaky cousin, functional fixedness. This is a huge one. It's a blind spot where we can only see an object for its most typical, obvious use. It's what literally stops us from thinking outside the box and seeing creative new uses for the stuff that's right there in front of us.
Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're in a room, and on a table you've got a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and some matches. Your job is to attach the candle to the wall so it can burn properly without dripping wax everywhere. So, how would you do it? Take a second, really think about it.
Feeling stuck? Yeah, don't worry, most people do. And that's because this puzzle perfectly shows how to beat functional fixedness. The secret is to stop seeing the tack box as just a container for tacks. You have to see it as something else, like a shelf, right? You just empty out the tacks, use one to pin the box to the wall, and boom, you've got a perfect little platform for your candle. So simple, but only if you can break out of that fixed way of thinking. But it's not always about these kinds of cognitive traps. Our feelings and emotions play a massive role too. I mean, think about it. If you're afraid of being wrong, or you're super stressed about a deadline, or maybe you just don't care about the problem, all of that can totally shut down your creative problem-solving skills. These emotional roadblocks can be just as tough to get past as any mental rut.
Okay, that's enough about being stuck.
Let's talk about the best part of solving any problem, that amazing breakthrough. That feeling when the fog just lifts and suddenly the solution is right there, clear as day.
Psychologists have a word for this: insight. And the key thing about insight is that it feels like it comes from absolutely nowhere. You can struggle with a problem for hours, for days, hitting a brick wall over and over, and then bam, the answer just appears in your mind totally complete. It's that eureka moment.
So how do we get more of these aha moments? Well, one really powerful technique is called incubation. And it's a little counterintuitive. It's the idea that sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to stop trying to solve it. Seriously, walk away, do something totally different, and let your unconscious mind just chew on it in the background. It's amazing how often the solution will pop up when you least expect it, like when you're in the shower or out for a run.
Speaking of insight, remember that little puzzle from the very beginning? Rearrange the letters NEWOR to make one word. Now, you were probably trying to find an anagram, right? Trying to shuffle those letters around. But the real solution needed a totally different kind of thinking. The answer is, literally, one word. And there it is. That's the aha moment.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. Problem solving isn't some fixed talent. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can get better at it. It just means being a little more aware of your own mental habits, your own roadblocks. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In your own life, right now, what's an old pattern, a mental set, that you could maybe break to find a new and maybe even better solution?